Muthukumaran, Controller of Examinations and Head of the Department of History, NALLAMUTHU Counter, Mahalingam College, Pollachi, Coimbatore District, Tamil Nadu, extending a warm welcome to our College President, Dr. B.K. Krishnaraj Vanavarayar, Resource Person of the Day, Dr. R.Balakrishnan, former IAS officer, presently Chief Advisor to the Chief Minister of Odissa Government, erudite professors and other participants of the national level 7 days series of webinar, Faculty Development Program on Beyond Academic Excellence, a reality show. Beyond academic excellence is nothing but human excellence, contributing one's might for a great cause without expecting anything in return is human excellence. These are the prime visions of our college president, Dr. B.K. Krishnaraj Vanavarayar, who he himself has been contributing his might by empowering the youth to enrich the nation, which is the theme of this faculty development program. Focusing on these ideals, we have organized this 7 days program. The resource persons of this 7-day program are the real practitioners, and they are going to exhibit their own experiences in their respective fields. Due to overwhelming response, we have created a separate YouTube channel for our history department. The webinar live streaming is available in this channel for the benefit of all the registered participants. The session is 1 hour, 45 minutes for the resource person, 10 minutes for Q&A, that is question and answer session. The participants can post the questions in the YouTube comment box. The questions will be answered by the resource persons during the Q&A session. The feedback form will be sent to all the registered participants after the session is over. All are requested to submit the feedback form on the day itself. Now, I would like to introduce today's resource person, Dr. R.Balakrishnan, former IAS officer, presently Chief Advisor of the Chief Minister of Odissa State, which is one of the exemplary governance of Indian states. This has been happened due to the contributions of bureaucrats, and Dr. Balakrishnan is one among them. Such a dedicated and committed officer is our resource person of the day. He is going to deliver on the topic of the extra mile. To recognize his selfless service, we are going to exhibit 2 minutes duration of video presentation about his contributions to the society for nation building.
Voice is not audible. The voice is not audible.
Okay, we are doing.
Its voice is not heard.
Okay. So we are getting ready.
Dr. R. Balakrishnan, former IAS officer, author of Journey of a Civilization Indus to Vaigai, is an Indologist and has been consistently working in this field for the last 30 years. He follows a multidisciplinary approach to map the post-Indus migration and trace the carried forward legacies of the Harappan culture. His latest book, Journey of a Civilization Indus to Vaigai, was launched on 16 December 2019. He was awarded Doctor of Letters by Periyar Maniamma University for his contribution in the field of Indology and particularly his work on Indus Valley civilization. He is the honorary consultant of Indus Research Center, Chennai, founded by Iravatham Mahadevan. He has done extensive research on multi-layered prehistory and cultural heritage of Odisha. Balakrishnan is a creative writer in Tamil. His publications have served the purpose of its creation. He is from a place called Nattam near Madurai in Tamil Nadu. He cleared the coveted civil service exams in his first attempt in 1984. He served as an IAS officer in Odissa cadre and retired in 2018 after 34 years of service. He held various important positions in Government of Odissa and Government of India. Election management, disaster management, and public finance are the areas of his specialization. Currently, he is the Chief Advisor of Odisha's Chief Minister and he is based in Bhubaneswar. He is bestowed on many coveted awards for his meritorious services. And so, we are delighted to have your presence in this elite forum.
Now the session goes to Dr. Balakrishnan.
Thank you very much. I hope that you shared the YouTube link and so that I can put it in my page. Can someone send a YouTube link to me?
So we have sent it.
Ah,
We have sent it.
just a minute. Okay, in any case, I haven't got it. We'll probably provide a link later on. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's my privilege. I consider I'm indeed be very happy to be part of this noble initiative made by NGM College. I have a very personal and warm association with the group, and particularly Arichelvar Mahalingam. I know him from late 80s, and the day I started doing my studies in Indology, when I came across, and in fact, indeed, one of my first article ever published about Indology related issues, which I wrote, started before writing in English. I was writing in Tamil. My first 3 articles were published by him in a magazine run by his group, Sakti Group. And then my relationship with him and the respect for him continued. And whenever he came to Delhi, I used to meet him and I was in touch with him. I recall his memories in this particular occasion when I am delivering this particular talk in a college established by him. And also I fondly recall the day his presence when I made an important, significant announcement about the Indus Valley civilization in Chemuli conference in 2010 in Coimbatore, and he was very much present in the hall. And I warmly give my greetings to Dr. B.K. Krishnaraj Vanavaraya, who is actually following the steps and doing a great service in spearheading the cultural heritage of this great nation, which is known for its pluralism and its ethos, and also the present president of the college. I would like to give my vanakkam to him. And also Sankar Vanavaraya. I think I recently, last year, a year back, I delivered a talk in Vanavaraya Foundation about the Tamil roots of the Indus Valley civilization. It was a grand success, and in fact, actually after 2010, there was an opportunity for me to have a conversation with the city of Coimbatore, which I consider as an important part, the Kongu region, in the narrative of subcontinent or the southern part of India. And also, I would like to thank the college management and particularly the Muthu Kumaran, Professor Dr. Muthu Kumaran, the HOD of History and the Controller of Examination. The way last 1 week they have been pursuing with me the minute detail, I am not personally surprised. I know that Sakti Group looks into the details and they've been trained that way, and the NGM college is known for it, and they were pursuing with me. And with this particular greetings thing, I would like to welcome all of you who would be probably listening to this speech through YouTube link and other sources. I think when I was asked that I would speak something, the overall topic of this particular deliberation, the conversation is about excellence beyond academics, something. So then I chose a title, The Extra Mile, which is very, very close to my heart. In one of my Tamil books, Raghukulvanam, I had mentioned a separate chapter about the walking the extra mile, and one of my Tamil poem published in that particular topic. It's my favorite topic as well. Why I chose the extra mile? Suppose that I am now 62-year-old. I have about when I finished my education in Tamil literature in 1980, it's almost now 42 years. Then with 4 years as a journalist and 34 years as an active IAS officer now, and post-retirement as a chief advisor to the government and chief minister. And then for that matter, anybody who is listening to this particular talk, for that matter, anybody, when somebody looks back and recount or recall on their life events, we don't normally recall and remember every other day, not all yesterdays, not all yesteryears. What exactly you recall, for me at least, I thought when I look back my life and looking back, what exactly I feel good about it, what exactly I really cherished, what I carry in my memory is not every day which was in a part of the calendar. It is not the routine day which I remember. And then I remember only the day where I feel I met the people whom I consider that they walked the extra mile, and my admiration for them. And those moments where I, in my own way, probably made an attempt or walked an extra mile. So ultimately, I'm of the view that what matters ultimately, what one recall, is not all the yesterdays and yesteryears, but only the extra mile moments. It stay with him and fill the heart with a sense of fulfillment. So this is then I will try and go and explain what exactly the extra mile. The concept of extra mile, if you really Google and find out and start reading about it, it's in the management circle. Every motivation speaker, he will talk about you to walk extra mile. Whether it's a talk for a marketing guys who increase his sales, or you have to just give a customer satisfaction, or you have to motivate the teachers, or motivate the officers, or motivate a kind of in a private sector environment or public sector environment. Everywhere, people have a motivation talker or the management scenarios. The extra mile is a concept which has come to stay. But then people trace the origin of the concept of extra mile to the Bible, where the Jesus Christ is supposed to have told that when you are walk 1 kilometer, 1 meter, 1 mile, walk the 2 mile. That means normally I am not getting into that. It's in the background of where the Romans were subjugating Jews to carry their arms. Every Jew come across, he will be asked to carry 1 mile of the arms and ammunition of the Roman soldier. So then at that time he is supposed to have told that you carry it's coming in Matthew 5:41. Whoever forces you to go 1 mile, go with him too. So this is probably consider the researchers are saying the genesis or the source of where the concept of extra mile walk. But for me, the extra mile is not exactly walking extra. It is not actually more than the extra mile walk. Generously and unconditionally, what you are doing, beyond the call of the duty, beyond this expected. In that sense, if you really look at it, I can only I can recall the Rudyard Kipling's excellent Rudyard Kipling says, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds, that means unforgiving minute, there is only 1 minute. If you can fill that unforgiving minute, there cannot be 61 seconds, it cannot be 62 seconds. And with 60 seconds, if you can fill it, worth of distance run. Yours is the earth, and everything that is in it. This is a Rudyard Kipling. Walk the extra mile is not just to walk more than required. There is actually, if you really look at it, in the one of the greatest the thing about the attraction about what I consider is the extra mile. Extra mile is a lonely place. If you look at it, the people who are basically working, who is an extra miler, who is not an extra miler, who is not an extra miler. The extra miler is not a 9-to-5 guy. He is not exactly working for compensation and trying to do things. Because I'll tell you, I recall, long many years, in fact, I mentioned in my book also, long many years, I was suddenly missing one of our colleagues who was not seen. And then I suspected that he could be sick or not well. So I dropped in and asked him, sir, why not to be seen and all. That was a month of December. So every year we have in one calendar year, this many casual leave and this many year you can take it. So then he had some 6 days of credit into his casual leave. I said that I had a casual leave of 6 days in my account. Then I am basically availing it. Then I was surprised that then I didn't say anything. I didn't comment. But then suddenly while coming out of the home, I felt it's not an extra miler. Because that when you make a calculation that you are entitled for this many days leave and then you not avail it, you simply avail it and sit at home. Then of course, if you can ask that, it's his legal right and he's entitled to take it. But then I don't define the extra milers that way. And extra milers are the people who are basically inclined people. And then really, it's like a marathon race. Actually, it's like when a marathon race starts, you know that in the television channel, you see that when a marathon starts, there's a huge crowd. Thousands of people will be there. Nobody will be bothered that to put a marker that where to start, how to start the running. 100-meter sprint, you will find very well defined. Everybody has to meet exactly run 100 meter, not 99 meter or not 101 meter. Accordingly, different track people will be in different position, and there will be a kind of warning, and a foul start will be stopped immediately. Again, it will be starting. But in marathon, it's not. The starting point of the marathon is always a crowded places. It's an absolute chaos. Thousands of people will be there. But if the end point of marathon, if you really look at it, it's a very lonely place. And there is a person will be running after another person will be running half a kilometer away or 200-meter away. It's an extra mile. There is no crowd actually. It's a very lonely place, and few people make it. Extra mile is not a project, and extra mile is a process. It's a commitment towards a cause. In a way, extra mile is a mindset. Actually, it's an attitude. You cannot define, suppose somebody asks that your working hours is 9 to 5. Every day you work till night 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, or even extra miler. Not necessarily. There are a smart way of doing things. Some people may be working late hours or maybe more hours, or maybe doing somebody else's job also, but not necessarily they need to be called as an extra miler. Extra mile is not exactly working about extra hours. It is not exactly walking the extra distance. It is about a kind of mindset. Extra mile is a concept. Most of the great deliverers are the extra milers. See, the game changers are spotted there. Actually, the human history, if you really look at it, who made the difference in scientific field, or in the history, in the cultural field, in the philosophy field, if you really look at the human history, the earth-changing moments or game-changing moments have been always realized by people who walk the extra mile, who really thought something above them or beyond them, or something larger than life or greater than their own existence. So that means if somebody is having something, if she can, then one doesn't know really the extra mile moment when it comes. I will, after putting a kind of, it's not about excelling alone. Some people think that extra mile is mean something excellence. Okay, extra mile will result in excellence, but that is not its objective. Because nobody can design or plan that I will do an excellence. There is no doubt you can easily get a 95, and then but there is a difference between the very good and the excellent. when you try to reach that particular excellence, the extra mile is becoming an inevitable process. But that is not the goal. Like the goal of the extra mile is not proving anything to anybody, but it evolves itself. It's a concept itself. Then, result does not always matter. Sometimes even the extra mile can be very insignificant, not noted, but ultimately that will be judged by a kind of what exactly meant for him, meant for others. I will tell some few examples. That means I will rather convert into a certain anecdotal, the kind of extra mile people whom it's a small or big. I am here today. I have been invited. I'm in a faraway Odissa. I've been invited by NGM college to make a talk about the extra mile. I am here because of some of my teachers who walked the extra mile for me, not necessarily for me, for their own, how they viewed their job and how they encouraged others. I consider that as an extra mile because I can only connect that my own life experience, what I define, because what I'm saying is need not be correct. So I had a teacher. As a student, when I was studying in Madurai, I used to be a good orator, and every oration competition in Madurai, I used to win. Invariably, I used to get a first prize there. And then one of the occasion, our school had a continuous some kind of issue. There was our school was closed. Then there is a letter comes to the school informing about a government oratorical competition which is to be held, but other schools are open. So this teacher, my teacher, Tamil teacher, comes to know about it from the school office, and then he goes somewhere and locates some fellow was spotted with me most of the time, one of my classmates. I'm talking about 6th, 7th or like that, 8th. Then he hires a bicycle and send that boy to come to my house many kilometers away and telling him that I should immediately come with him. So immediately the teacher is calling, I'm going to meet him. He says there is a competition is there. You are always a winner, but our school is closed. You will not know. I sent that cycle. So let us go there. So he takes his cycle. Then I switch over to his cycle. He takes me in his cycle. Then we go to the hall where the exam, the competition was taking place. On the way, he was telling me how to speak, what are the points to be covered and all. And by the time we reached there, the competition is almost over. Then he was highly disappointed. He sent a cheat that Balakrishnan has come. He's one of the good orator and all. So immediately they receive and admit me. But for the sake of admitting me, they are admitting. By the time the judges have started putting the score, mark score they started putting. Then my teacher notes that. That means for the sake of admitting me, I am allowed to speak. But by the time they are trying to make up their mind, then he tells me, Bala, when you go there, there is a mic. You just don't think about courtesy. Just pull the mic and that will make a noise. And they will start looking at you and without giving start going ahead with that process. Once they started listening to your word, you will get the first prize. Then I exactly did that. I went there and stood there. The judges are already putting marks. I pulled the mic. It created a noise. I have mentioned this in my book. And it created a noise. All of them turned towards me. I started speaking. And then next the result is announced. I am the first prize holder. Can I forget this particular moment? Why the teacher did that? Actually, was it his duty? Or was he expected to react when the schools are closed? Was he expected to take a cycle and send a cycle to fetch me? Was he expected to take me physically there? Was he expected to really basically notice that they are already scoring and tell me a concept, tell me a technique, tell me how to go about it? Whenever I think about it, it's a small incident, but I can never forget that because at that particular moment, he was not merely a teacher. He was a leader. He was an extra miler. He was a EM man. He was working because it's nothing. He gains nothing. But for me, it makes a lot of difference. It gives me a life's learning. And it further reinforces my habit of winning. And then through that, what I learned in the school rooms, probably this particular gesture, this particular incident created such a big impact for me. And then it's become probably today I'm here. even post-retirement, and handle many cyclones and today we are handling COVID and many other things. I've been the part of the election management exercise in this country, having done the Lok Sabha election twice and planned and executed and 30 elections, Kashmir, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, many times, all over the country in 30 states. The whole process, I have been there and been into different type of fields, like ranging from the public finance to disaster management to tourism. All these learnings, I don't think that I owe this to only the classroom learning. If that is the criteria, I have learned nothing other than BA Tamil literature and MA Tamil literature. I studied only BA Tamil. I studied only MA Tamil. I'm the only first person to get into the civil services writing the exam in Tamil. And I learned, even my English is self-taught. But then, but I handled many years budget in the state. I have written budgets. I have handled public finance. And then this is probably, I consider the extra mile is, it's not about the techniques alone. It's an attitude, I think. Then when it becomes the life's process, I will go a little anecdotal so that I am able to, because I am not a teacher, I am not a management consultant. I can only speak what I learned and how I relate myself. What are the people whom I come across, how I relate myself to the extra mile as a concept, and how I try to walk that talk. In 90s, early 90s, around that time only I came across Arul Chelvar and everybody. I was the managing director of a state finance corporation. I think we were in a very bad state. We turned around that finance corporation and increased the recovery by 300%. We turned around that. Around that time, my concept was to save that organization, put our money in the proper hands. We used to go after the people who are doing well and paying well, good people, investing money in the, consider the philosophy, the driver, the person who is handling the steering is more important than the vehicle itself. So then we wanted to put our money to the right entrepreneurs and wanted to deny the money to the wrong guys. Even the reference comes from I used to often say that even God speaks, we won't give. That kind of an young age, I used to speak that kind of language. So then around that time, we started rewarding, like in the sense that like we promised the loan decision will be taken in such and such date. Loan up to this one, 28 days. Loan up to this one, 35 days. Loan up to beyond this much amount, 50 days. There will be a written commitment will be given. How the file will travel, it will be indicated. And then with whom the file will be there, it will be indicated. There will be a 4 inland card, my address printed in it. And there the complaint is printed. He has to tick mark where the things are getting stuck. It will be opened only by me after an inquiry. If there is a fault is found in my system, there used to be an apology letter from me, signed by me personally. But if I happen to sign an apology letter, somebody's job will go. So that also my organization know it. There are few occasions where I had apologized. And then we used to send a doing well, paying well concept. People felt that, sir, this is the extra mile we consider. A person who is doing well and paying well, the entrepreneur, his date of birthday, there will be a card from me, signed by me, happy birthday to you. This is in early 90s and 91. We were in the reform process at that time only. A paying well, doing well person will get a greetings card from me, New Year card from me, wedding anniversary card from me. But the concept is that because this is where we created that kind of sense of culture and owning it up. So this is my learning from my teachers. That is from my teachers in my childhood and the people whom I came across. These are the people. And then within the system, because the people normally consider the government system from outside, because many a time we consider that in a black and white way, we have a judgmental about it, how the systems run. But I tell you, even given a chance again, if I have to start my life again, I will write civil services again. I will study only Tamil literature. I will again write civil services. I will make it. I am so happy and I am so fulfilled about the canvas which I am working, the purpose, the sense of purpose I am able to address. And I think I will not barter or I will not exchange this position or this service with anything else in the world, because it makes a great sense for me. So, but we have a tendency to judgmental about it. But everybody is contributing. I will narrate one more small example. When we talk about an extra mile, I consider as a civil servant, I consider my concept of extra mile as having some other mile in my mind. That is what called last mile. My extra mile is about a concern about the last mile. Whether the last mile, the concept of last mile, whether it's a geography, whether it's a dot on the map, whether it is a polygon in the geographical information system, or a latitude or longitude, it is not geography alone. The last mile is a demography as well as. Sometimes the so-called last mile and extra mile, both are not exactly, not a literal meaning, it's a metaphor. Last mile is a metaphor, and extra mile is also a metaphor for me. The last mile metaphor, sometimes the last mile man may be just to be sleeping near Secretariat, or he may be sleeping on the road near a 5-star hotel. But then sometime deep interior in a forest, somebody may be a grand time with his palatial living. So that means the last mile is not a function of geography alone. Last mile sometimes is a demography also. Sometimes the last miles are the individuals. Sometimes the last miles are the group of people. Sometimes last mile is defined by many other things. Today, look at it, switch on the TV. The people who are walking in the highways of India, whether you have a 8-lane or 6-lane or 4-lane, it is immaterial. For me personally, I feel hurt because that my fellow countrymen, my citizen, my people, our people are walking. That means it's a 400 kilometers, 500 kilometers, amazing. I tell you, it's a hurting. And then people think that they can walk from Chennai to Calcutta. The very fact that they think the men and women and they're pregnant, and then they are, for me, the last mile is walking on the highways. So that last mile here is a person. Sometimes the last mile is a place. So this last mile and extra mile related some of the anecdotes from my own learnings and experience I want to connect with you. When I came to Odissa, as I told you that I know only one language, is Tamil. Then I can manage English because, I have an exposure to English, I can speak. Then I didn't know Oriya. Right now I speak in a couple of many languages in India. But then I had to come and learn this language here. Around that time, when I first joined as a sub-collector, I was having a kind of an approach to deal with the thing through a map. So when I asked my officers that where I will first go as an officer, the first visit I will make, which one? Then I had to choose. So then instead of going to a Tahsil office or a BDO's office, I called the map and just located. There is a tri-junction where my jurisdiction had a border with the 3 more districts. So that tri-junction in the last point, I put my pen and made a mark, and I would like to go to this place. Then my officers told that it's a godforsaken place, sir. It's a tribals are living. It's a very deep interior. There is no road. You just can't walk because probably you want to walk 5 hours one way. Probably both put together 10, 11 hours of walking could be involved. They tried to discourage me. Then more they tried to discourage me, I was hell-bent that I wanted, because I had a metaphor of a last mile. The metaphor of the last mile is only driving. I don't know the place. Then they try to, after that, they said, sir, we will first do a survey. We will find out what exactly, because we heard that after independence, no officer has gone there. This is, I'm telling you, about 1986. So my people went, some youngsters went and did a survey and came with that. There are this many number of few hundred people are living. These are the tribes, Yuang tribes. They don't know much to wear, nothing much to eat. It's an absolutely godforsaken place. And then it's a mosquito all the time, malaria. And mind it, I'll tell you, it is in the center of the chromite belt of Odissa. In India accounts for, if I'm right, is almost about 50-60% of the chromite wealth of the world. And then Odissa accounts for the 90% of the chromite wealth of India. And this place accounts for that 90% of that 90%. That means you are in a chrome spot of the world. There is no other place in the world where the chrome is so much concentrated. And there is a few cluster of villages, which is basically in the last mile. So then when I said that we must go there, we travel, believe me, I start with the expedition of something around 45 people and carrying some kind of cloths and other things, some dhoti, sari and all. Many people stayed back. They couldn't carry themselves. I also did not encourage, because somebody have a heart attack or not able to walk, something happened. I have to take the blame. I asked everybody to feel free to stay back. Ultimately, few of us could make it. This is in 1986. Then that learning, after that, I walked in my life in different field, different tourism, this election management, everything I went around. In 2014, I came back to Odissa. Again, 2016-17, when I was working, suddenly somebody talking about these villages. This location, I immediately remembered the name of the villages. I asked them, the health secretary confirmed. The information is that 12 children died of malnutrition. I asked the same village. Then I immediately rang up with that area collector and all. I came to know that I was the last person to go there, 1986. And then this time we are having a greater resources. We are in a position to take decisions. Around that time I was a field officer. Now we are a policymakers. Then we come out with a concept called Upantanchalu. That means in the sense that the interior area, the concept itself is a last mile. In English we call it a last mile in our state. So then we did the GIS and identified such villages not well connected, where an ambulance cannot go, and bring a pregnant lady. This kind of calculation we made it. We came out with a separate concept for it. In that village, after that, many IAS officers were sent. Finally, before my retirement, I took a Innova car. And from that place where I started working in 1986, this time I crossed in 30 minutes with a huge group of officers. And we created a school, we created a clinic, we created Anganwadi centers. All these things were done in a few months' time. And then I consider that to be a greatest irony, where you're walking the extra mile physically to a last mile. That at that age, at 26, 27, I thought of doing it. But then the realization is that merely last mile is not about walking alone. It is something beyond it. So then I will put in another example. Where the extra mile is not about what makes me happy. When I make a statement to you, if I have another life, if I have to start again, I will study my own subject. I will not go for I won't go and join Harvard, or I won't go and join any other foreign university. I'm quite comfortable. I've traveled all over the world. I have done all kinds of jobs, ranging from the public finance to every job, but I haven't studied anything other than Tamil literature. I will again do it because that's enough for me. And this particular Tamil highway has taken me everywhere. So I just narrate another incident about I will first talk about another extra miler, and then whom the images are carried, the metaphor is carried. Around 2003, we had a very historical flood. We got 100 years the maximum rain. And in Hirakud Dam, we had to open 58 sluices, like the motherhood, what's the thing. All these 58 sluices gates have to be opened. Huge water in Mahanadi. And we made a calculation, something around 1,100 villages will be affected in coastal area and all. We were working day and night and put the material well in advance. In each place, we created a contact, matchmaking, this, that, and all. We were actually using technology, reaching out and doing day and night. And then one day, my chief secretary around that time, he came. My office got slightly thing around night 11:30. I'm in office. My peons and my secretary and other thing, they slightly thing and all. They all go and receive somebody. My chief secretary is walking into my room. It's around night 11:30. He's in his kurta pajama. And he said, he came and sat in front of me. Then I thought he had a dinner and had a walk. I heard about that. I'm in office. He thought of coming and visiting me. Then I was surprised. I thought that 11:30 he's coming to office. Then I tried to explain the day's event. He said, forget it, nothing doing. I said, very sure, dinner. My dinner had come from my home. It was in a corner of my room. And he asked my staff to put the dinner on my table. And then he said, eat it. Then I'm just the embarrassment of eating in front of my chief secretary. I eat the food. This man stays there and make me to eat the dinner. And he said, goodbye. So eat properly, eat in time. Then I said, sir, I'm trying to explain that I have not come to listen to you, what you've done for the flood and all. I just came to tell you that you eat. Then believe me, next day, I think again the same kind of fight is there. We are in a war room. And again the fight is going on. I think and I am totally engaged. My food is there. And around 11:15, 11:30, this man again comes to my room and tell and stand in front of me. And then immediately my food is taken. I'm eating it. Then he told me, sir, you are really bad. If you do not want your chief secretary in your room at night 11:30, you will eat in time. Then next day onwards, I started eating in time. Then after all this flood is over, I went to his room. He, again, I never know that he will use this word. I told him and went and thanked him, sir, it's so nice of you. You are Varo. You were so considerate. You were so, you touched me. You came all the way wearing a kurta pajama, 11:30 to office, and come and see whether an officer has taken a food or not. You came in. Then he said, Bala, you are an extra miler. And this particular few kilometers I came to your office, that is the much I should walk. Then the concept of exam, then I felt so much proud of him. The reason being, for me, it was a job. I am the Special Relief Commissioner. My job is to deliver disaster management. I was doing my job, but that was not his job. To making me eating is not his job. It's not his job. So for me, he was a greater extra miler. By walking this few kilometers and just taking a car and coming, and the extra mile concept actually for me, it got a new meaning. And then this is how I would like to connect the extra mile. Actually, I always consider that if the last mile suffers, and it is because of somebody is supposed to walk an extra mile, they have not walked it. That is how I look at it, because I look things from that perspective, from the perspective of a last mile. And let me tell you one more. I can only recall, I am more motivated to create a little anecdotal presentation before you, because I am more motivated because of we are handling an unprecedented, unknown catastrophe, a pandemic, global pandemic. And then did we know that about 4 months back, 5 months back, the 2020 will start like this? Did we ever know that Times Square in London, in US, in New York, in Manhattan will be frozen one day? And did we ever expect that Eiffel Tower, there will not be anybody? Did we ever expect that Taj Mahal will not have a single visitor? The roads are frozen, empty roads. So we never expected. The world has to be rebooted. So now in this scenario, when we are trying to reboot our economy, we try to reboot our life. And there are certain things probably which mere rebooting will not bring back. Because that's a kind of thing. That is where it's a time for introspection, I tell you. Because why I take nowadays almost many Zoom talks, and I consider it's a time to introspect. We have time. We have the technology. We are able to reach out. It's a time for introspection. In 1999, Odissa had a huge super cyclone. At that time, my job-wise, I was the like say Industrial Promotion Corporation's managing director. Like in Tamil Nadu terms, it could be SIPCOT's counterpart. I had just taken over about a week back as the managing director of that corporation. But then when the cyclone was coming, when we found out from the US Navy satellites and the typhoon warning center from the Hawaii, then it's an impending danger. Then the system tried to position senior officers in different parts of the state, not with a clear assignment, not as a specific responsibility, on assumption. I was told just to make a to that side, towards the northern part of the Odissa, and park yourself somewhere. You'll be there. In case the cyclone comes there, at least the collectors there have the your guidance kind of thing. I am without any written assignment. I am going there and just to be parked myself in that area. So the rest is history. The cyclone came and we stayed put without anybody's instruction. There is no cell phone. Cell phone towers have fallen, dried out. Electricity is gone. Complete darkness everywhere. You can't take orders from everywhere. So we took a decision. At that point, I made a letter pad for myself in my laptop, putting my name and announcing myself as an officer on special duty in cyclone, because that we have to draw money from the government accounts. So asked the officers to draw money, sent the teams to the West Bengal. We procured 45 truckloads of relief material, which is needed for the affected districts. When the relief material reached the affected district, that was the first material which we procured without any instruction, without any mandate. And then there you took a call. And then when I was there in that particular location, no telephone. We were the only mode of communication was basically what is called the very high frequency VHF, through which the police people communicate. It's not even wireless. It's a very there is a kind of a VHF sets handheld devices. So you can talk and it will be repeated. So then when there somebody suddenly, a police officer, an IG rank officer comes in the line, I was basically used to sleep in the collector's room and all this. We were just like sleeping on the table and the thing. So when I came in the mic, he told me that, is it Bala sir speaking? Yes, I am Balakrishnan here. He said that I have a problem. So he was telling, he was in a district which is about 150 or 170 kilometers away from me. That person is in charge of handling the law and order there. He said things are getting out of control and people, dead bodies are found here, there and all. It's totally getting out of control. Food shortage, everything. And then, then I said, what's the problem? So there is a roads are cut off from Bhubaneswar side. So this side also road cut off. But there is a solution, but the collector who is here is a little reluctant because of it is the Government of India property. The information is that if there is a food corporation of India go down near a railway station where thousands of rice bags are available, then it has to be opened. And then whereas the old collector who is nearing retirement, his problem is that it's a Government of India. Then there has to be an order. There has to be an allotment for the district. That has been drawn. The check has to be paid. All these procedures are there. Above all, the FCI Godown manager himself is not available. It's locked. He himself has gone to Bhubaneswar to look after his family. Now this man is asking, this IPS officer is asking, I want your intervention. I have nothing, no idea. I have nothing to do with that particular location. Then I didn't want to disturb that the person who is nearing retirement. So I only requested him, the IG, to bring a reasonably senior officer from the administration, maybe collector, PA, or the ADM level officer, and tell him that I am calling them to the near the mic. So one of the officer was brought by a police officer and put in front of the mic where he can listen to me. I told that, please note down, this is my instruction from such and such location I am giving to you. So note down, you are going with the DSP and a few police officers and take 5 citizens, local people, take a video camera, go to the FCI Godown, break it open and break the lock and get inside and take 1,000 or 2,000, any number of bags of rice you need it, you take it out and then again put a lock and put a seal and again videograph it, write a statement, write proceedings, and all of you put a signature. Rest I will take care. Go ahead and do that. Now, the question, I am now, this particular incident, few days back only I recalled when I was giving a Zoom talk about disaster management, suddenly this incident came to my mind. I asked myself, I said, why? Because why I am trying to drive home your point is that extra mile is not about actually walking. Extra mile sometimes happens without even moving an inch. Without moving an inch, an extra mile can be walked. By walking, you may still be there without walking. That means a person's number of hours working or doing somebody else's job. There are an office people say that I do everybody's job. I take work on my head. It's not the extra mile, not necessarily. Number of working hours is not an indicator for an extra mile. So this particular learning, I heard only people from my teacher, from my colleagues, my senior officers, and the way above all, it's basically the kind of the learnings I had from my literature, the learnings I had from Tamil literature. I tell you, if I have to relate myself again and again, because I don't know much about other things, because I'm so proud a student of Tamil literature and the Tamil classics, where if any literature which talks in Indian context about the extra mile, that is Sangam literature, that is Thirukural, and that is where you talk about the starvation, hunger, and the destitute people, and the need to stand by them. And there is a excellent experience thing. I delivered a talk on Friday about a topic called Pasipini Maruthuvam. It's a meaning that means a doctor for a starvation or a kind of hunger. That means he's a doctor, he's a hunger doctor. Anybody who is hungry, he treats them. The treatment is food. That means he gives food for them. So he is called a doctor. This is where 2,200 years back, Sangam literature calls somebody's house is called Pasipini Maruthuvan Illam. It is something like telling it's a so-and-so hospital. then this is location. Then his house is the hospital, and he is the doctor. The medicine is the food, and the hungry people are the disease. That means they are the sick patients. So this concept actually has been my guiding principle all through. And then I find that, look at it, the kind of ordinary people right now who are working. We on earth, right now, you tell me whatever the salary you pay and whatever the thing you pay, at the end of the day, the fear about the life, one's own life is a greater fear. And how today, in the name of duty, ordinary Anganwadi worker, ASHA worker, health worker, and then the sanitary workers, and then the doctors, nurses, how they, all over the world, look at the story from Italy, look at the story from Spain, look at the story from America, look at the story from India, from Odissa, from Tamil Nadu, from Assam, from everywhere, the common man fighting for the common man. And then their sense of duty, and they have a family, they have a children, they have the baby, they have an elder to care. But then this is same society. We still have the problem where a doctor goes to the hospital and come back to this apartment, and there is in the hospital somebody has some patient has been admitted with a positive corona. Then you come back, your apartment people coming out telling that doctor, you don't come inside, or you vacate your house. How cruel! How cruel! And somebody is walking the extra mile. Suppose people resign, and what money can buy. But then we come across the people who ask the people to vacate the houses. And then we came across the doctors' dead bodies are not allowed to be buried. And this is the time for introspection. If we are going to reboot our economy with the same kind of approaches and same kind of values and same kind of judgment, same kind of attitudes, I think it's not worth. I make this statement very strongly and very consciously, because this corona and this particular catastrophe must open up, must not only opening up the economy, it must open up the heart. It must create an opportunity for the introspecting. Why people walk, why people suffer, why doctors were asked to vacate, why the doctor's dead body was not buried. Is it a problem about the media? Are we overhyping it? I have seen the same kind of thing. It's happened in 1980. And what is the Bengal famine in 1940s? Million people died. And then did we create a overhyping, and did we overplay in the social? That means because in the social media, then how we are going to answer it? We cannot blame media, we cannot blame the social media, we cannot blame WhatsApp. But the fact remains that where we are actually heading for. That is the unsung corona warriors. I am really feeling proud, and through this one, that those extra mile walkers, he can be in some remote corner of Assam, somewhere in the remote corner of the Odissa, somewhere in the, that is the reason we have given in our state, we have given the power of the collector to a sarpanch, whom we call in some parts of the country, they are called pradhans. In Tamil, they are called Urachi Talevargal. And then in this part of the country, they are called sarpanch. And we have given the power of a collector in the epidemic thing, they can even declare a containment area, because ultimately people have to take a responsibility for themselves. And then people have to be given, but we do a facilitation role. So that empowerment has to take place. Then only they will own it up. So this place is actually, this particular event has got a great type of learning. And I consider, okay, why some people are motivated, why some are not motivated. I consider it's not about good or bad. You cannot blame people. You can't brand people. You cannot stigmatize people. I consider it's something about, it means knowing what you want, being willing to do what it takes. I'm telling you, extra mile philosophy is something doing, not this quantum or that quantum. You cannot quantify that. You cannot quantify an extra mile in terms of the number of working hours, or the load you can take, or the number of assignments you can hold simultaneously. It's not about that. It is, in my view, extra mile is about a sense of purpose, a greater cause. The beneficiary cannot be you. If you cannot say that, somebody cannot say that I've been working 20 hours a day. For whom? I earned for the 10th generation or 20 generation. even if without even my all my children and grandchildren, without doing any work, just by rent collecting, and if they eat also, they can eat for another 10 generation, 20 generation. For that, I walked the extra mile. Hell with your extra mile. That's not an extra mile. That extra mile doesn't make anybody happy. The corona can take anybody. I tell you, in our own eyes, we are finding that the people who basically accumulated and who is enjoying that wealth. Ultimately, what happened to that? From in our own eyes, we are seeing that kind of example. I consider the beneficiary of a particular effort has to be far removed from one's own family. That means if I am a beneficiary, if my children are the beneficiary or my grandchildren are the beneficiary, there is nothing great about what extra mile. If I work 20 hours a day for myself, what a great deal about it. If the beneficiary of that is called platform and purpose, you have a platform, you have a purpose. You may be, that's what a quadrant. I think Mr. Bachi sir once made an excellent presentation about it, platform and purpose. You may be a kind of that quadrant. You may be in a high platform, but working with a low purpose. You may be in a low platform, but working with a high purpose. But if you are in a high platform working with a high purpose, you are a leader. If you are a low platform working with a low purpose, okay. So this particular quadrant, and it decides the platform and purpose. I consider in the extra mile, it's not about distance, it's not about measurement, it is about the purpose. The purpose is a greater purpose, and the beneficiary is a far removed from oneself. And that means the teacher who took me in the cycle, I'm not his son, I'm not his relative, he has no stake with me. So that is where my learning I have taken it. So then second thing, another attitude of doing what it takes. So what an extra mile, how do you define what to do? In my view, I don't know answer for an extra mile what to do. In my view, extra mile, if it is a purpose, is great to do what it takes. We long back in why Odissa is doing well in disaster management, considered to be doing well in disaster management. We have an absolute clarity in our political and bureaucratic, our leadership. We have an absolute clarity that we do what it takes. That means do what it takes. That means what is the quantum, what is the intensity, what do you do is decided by the challenge, not by the rule books. That means we have a tendency to break 100 rules to save a life. It has been given it in writing to our people. We had put it in writing. In way back in 2003 flood, I had put it in writing as a Special Relief Commissioner of Odissa, break 100 rules to save a life. That means we have anybody was done in the during disaster, a bona fide intention, a bona fide act by an officer, that will be protected. Even if it's a wrong decision. Nobody can, during a disaster, nobody can judge what is right and what is wrong. So that is auditors will take care in future. But the problem is that the doing what it takes, it's mean doing a good job at what you choose to do, a great job, even go to the extra. It is never crowded because there's always a lonely place. I feel that it's been as I already told, that extra mile is not about distance. It's actually not about travel also. Extra mile need not be understood as travel. It's a metaphor. It is a mindset. It's a more than attitude than an object. It's a more an attitude than an objective or a goal. You can't design an extra mile. You must have walked even without knowing you walked an extra mile. Some people may be thinking that they are walking an extra mile, but they may not be walking extra mile. Some people must have walked extra mile without even knowing that they moved an inch. I'm here because some of the teachers, as I already told, walked the extra mile, and some other people who taught me the philosophy of extra mile. Any amount of poetry or a talk about the extra mile cannot move an inch forward. It can probably inspire. At the end, extra mile is a personal choice and a personality type. Extra mile is a personality type. It's an archetype. It's a personality type. Extra mile is a personal choice. Extra mile, I physically walked, as I told you that, and also people have walked for me, and I'm inspired by them. And I'm happy that I had an opportunity to talk about probably what I spoke makes sense or may not make sense, but may be different from what your management teachers in the schools. They may talk about extra mile from a client satisfaction, other thing. Of course, I strongly believe in client satisfaction. In the client satisfaction in a country, our citizens are the only clients. So ultimately, we are guided by that, and we are quite happy about that. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'll be happy to answer questions.
So thank you very much, sir, for your nice presentation. Some of the participants have given their observation. I would like to bring notice some of them. Prof. Seethalakshmi from Krishnagiri, great salute, sir, touching the most important topic at the current scenario. It's a compliment to you. Subhapriya from PhD Krishnamal College of Coimbatore, sir, inspiring and motivational speech to young IAS aspirants and how a teacher should be a role with extra mile making difference in students' life forever. Prakash Singh from Aurangabad. His compliment is, so it's a very nice presentation, sir. Chennappa from Krishnagiri. Sir, it's a very nice presentation. It is a boost up to every professionals. And some of them are some questions. Very few I want to bring to notice, sir. That is one question from Uttarakhand. That is, how should we preserve our extra mile centered perception from the decay caused by the grasp of today's rat race perception centered society? It's a question from.
Can you repeat it?
Sir?
Can you kindly repeat the question?
How should we preserve our extra mile centered perception from the decay caused by the grasp of today's rat race perception centered society?
Okay. It's basically, as I told, that is a choice is always available. It's actually it functions simultaneously as a collective consciousness as well as a personal choice. Many a time the personal choice is influenced by the collective behaviors, which sometimes the collective behaviors is influenced by somebody's personal choices. So that's why I think Gandhi made a difference and Nelson Mandela made a difference. But for that, everybody need not be a hero. He need not be. But the fact remains that individual act. See, I'm telling you, somebody in Kerala, about whom I mentioned in my book, a small shopkeeper, he returned. I consider him as an example. Again, he's my hero. In fact, actually, he's a shopkeeper, and he is having 3 daughters and a very poor fellow, and he is living in a one room apartment, one room house given by the Kerala government. And he is selling lottery. Somebody comes to his shop and buys a few lottery tickets. Suddenly he finds that he's not having money. So he said, you keep it with you. When I come back tomorrow is a holiday, day after tomorrow, when I go this side, give money and take it. So the next day was the lottery drawal day. So then this fellow, the shopkeeper, just see that one fellow purchased 5 tickets. So he has to pay 50 rupees. Let me check it out. So then he found that 1 crore rupee is given to that particular lottery. And he could have replaced it, I think, because he has not even known the number. And then he urgently sent somebody to bring him and tell that. So ultimately, he refused to take that money. Well, just by reading this story, I tell you, poor man, not willing to be greed, not willing to take. Actually, it's basically the individual set an example for the collective consciousness, and then it's mutually influencing. So I will take an inspiration. I will forget about the many people who did not do their work or not measure up. But I will take the example of the unsung heroes, the nurses, the doctors, the thing and all. But then end of the day, if we come out of this particular episode of the corona without settling the kind of societal behavior about the human fecal material being carried by another human being, I think that in some parts of India, that inhuman act is still continuing. Or the human people, laborers getting into the sewerage tank and cleaning it up. Somebody's urine, somebody's fecal material, without any protective gears, without using, because we have any technology. We are going to moon and we are searching water there, and we ought to have a technology to clean our sewerage. You cannot put a fellow citizen or a fellow man and whatsoever thing that all with the thing, and we are walking past. So ultimately, when we come out of corona, I am of the view If somebody is carrying somebody's fecal material on his head, like it happens in some parts of the country today, we are not worth. And if you are allowing the human beings to get into a sewerage tank and come out or even getting killed, and then after that you announce a compensation for them, it's not worth. So it's a kind of both are interconnected and mutually influencing. It's a time for introspection.
So one more question, sir, from Raji John from Hyderabad. Nowadays, the person who goes an extra mile is being exploited. What to do in such a situation?
Yes, no doubt about it. In the sense that here this extra mile, if somebody is going to tell, make a labor to work extra than what he is paid, then he is an exploiter. So that means I'm glad that you asked this question. Making somebody to work beyond exploited, you cannot tell him that no, now from today onwards you will be known as an extra mile walker. No, extra mile walker, he himself should feel. Now I walked, suppose I claim, suppose I feel that I walked an extra mile, I am laughing and I am feeling good about it. That means you go and ask somebody who is felt exploited, he will not be feeling good about that. So that means it's basically, that means there is a lot of difference between made to do an extra work, then somebody is running extra mile. We are talking about an extra mile walking. It's a voluntary, it's a choice. I told you that it's a choice. So then in the process, suppose if I am exploited, suppose that I took a decision to draw money from the government and send people on my own without anybody's permission to buy material in 1999 from West Bengal. Yeah. Somebody questioned me. Suppose that how the hell, why you did it? Who authorized you? I know how I will respond. I would have responded very thinking. I was prepared for it because I consider that I'm a leader. Actually, I have to take a call there. I'm there to take a call, not to follow a beaten track. If necessary, if there is no precedence, I have to create a precedence. If I have to pay a price for it, I would have been very happy to pay a price. I would have quit. I would have made a statement. I would have addressed the country. I would not have scared. Even suppose when I asked the door to be open, it's not the owner is the government of India. It's the Food Corporation of India. I am an officer from the state government. I'm not even there. I'm asking the doors to be locked to be broken. Then if somebody asks, I know that nobody will ask. That's the beauty. See, that's an unfounded fear. But in the process, even I would not call that as an exploiting. That means it's an insensitive victimization. Then that victimization cannot deter you. That means it's not a choice. So if you are so much worried about it, you will not take this choice. That is the reason I said extra mile is not a compulsion. Extra mile is not a mandatory. It's an extra mile is a kind of mindset. It's an attitude. It's a personality type, and it's a personal choice. So more people take that personal choice, then that becomes the normal. There has to be new normal. So how long you can be worried? So what? Life can come to an end at any time. Accidents can take place anytime. I have seen many great officers who unnecessarily suffered. People who are known for their great integrity. They went to the court and stood before the court, and they've been victimized. But then it's a part of the game. It's an accident. Accident can take place, but accident cannot deter you from traveling. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sir, it's the last question, sir, from Arachami Rajini. Sir, what message will you convey to today's and future generation in terms of failure? Do you think the generation today and future are able to accept failure?
I would like to say that follow your personal call all the time. Dependent. There are some people driven by fear. Some people are driven by a sense of doing something different. Some people are driven by adventurism. Some people are drawn to poetry. Some people are drawn to philosophy. Some people are drawn to scientific temperament. But follow your call. Because I know that there are a lot of people from different parts of the thing. I know that I'm not speaking to a Tamil audience, but I can still say that I wrote once, "Piditthadai vidadirgal, pidikkathadai thodadirgal." This is my mantra. It's my book. That is a basic concept. "Piditthadai vidadirgal, pidikkathadai thodadirgal" means don't touch, don't leave what you like, and don't touch what you do not like. Make that kind of choice. If I am not good in mathematics, I will not try to be. If I like literature, I like literature. That means then excellence comes only from that. That means follow your heart. And many people can say that this is the right way, that is the wrong way. I tell you, I have been seeing that in front of my own eyes. 10 years back, one subject will be, suddenly people stopped reading history and stopped reading geography, stopped reading literature. Every second person is an engineer in this country. Every second person is an engineer. Suddenly IT will become popular. Suddenly electronic communication will be popular. And then people immediately, parents will guide them. No, there is no job. Placement is not available for it. And people go and stand in the consulate general's office and then have a prayers to get a visa mark and this and that. I tell you, people right now, what is happening in front of us? In what way I have not done well? I think I studied only Tamil because I love that subject. And everybody said that I may not even get a job. And forget about being an IAS officer. But I never written any single exam other than this. Follow your call, right or wrong. And then stand by that and tell you. Then that is what even this is valid for any time. It was valid 2000 years back. It was valid during Indus Valley civilization. It was valid during Sangam literature. It was valid during any given point of time. And it's valid even now. That means follow your call. And don't get really influenced by what is considered to be a trend. That means, and then go for detail. I'm really worried about the present generation. Basically, I'm telling you, Google everything available, Wikipedia everything available, but that cannot be a substitute for your complete understanding. So that means right now we have a tendency to get carried away. One misleading WhatsApp can make a difference. A misleading propaganda can make a difference. So that's mean probably we have to get slightly deeper into the things. But I have a great faith in the younger generation. People, there is a tendency, anybody who's retired and anybody whose hair is little gray, he will have a tendency that when I was a child and then this generation, I think I have a great faith in this generation. This kind of grievance, every generation had it. I tell you, look at the way the youth in Chennai responded for a flood a few years back. How the people in Kerala responded a few years back. I tell you, amazing. They are the youth. They rallied around. They didn't want to wait for anybody. And then they did. Then the youth of India, they are not second to anybody. I won't say that thing at all. I'm quite confident, and they are well-informed people, and they will stand up when they need to take up. But this Corona thing, in my view, is an opportunity for us to introspect. Please think about people who are less endowed. Never think about who is above you. That means if there is a small stick, suppose if I draw a line, the line's height is only this. Suppose then if the moment I draw another bigger line near that small, that what I consider a bigger line, that bigger line becomes smaller comparatively. If I draw another longer, bigger line next to that, that bigger becomes the smaller. So there's no point in comparing. There's no end to compare. There's no end to compare. But think about the people who are less endowed. I tell you, there is always something to feel happy about it. I tell you, you have an attitude. There is something to feel happy about it all the time. There is a lot of things to feel happy about it. Look at that brighter side and try to be useful to others and to yourself. And if you are able to do what you want, that's a great blessings. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you, sir. Your entire speech impressed us and reminded me, the great poet Robert Frost verses that the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. With these complimentary words to you, it's a formal vote of thanks session, sir. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to our beloved President, sir, for his valuable suggestions and listen to this session that shows his concern on the younger generation to empower the nation. So, Dr. Paulson, sir, it's my bounden duty to convey our sincere thanks to you for your kind acceptance and presented on the extra mile, which is a thought-provoking and inspiring message to all. Though it is a pandemic period and a cyclonic threat to Odissa government, as a bureaucrat of Odissa, responding our invitation and exhibited your own experiences shows that you are always prefer the extra mile. So we are happy to express our sincere thanks on behalf of management and my own behalf. I profusely extend our thanks to you, sir. I thank all the participants for your kind cooperation. I hope all the participants are to be presented in all the programs till 31st of this month. Once again, I thank one and all. Now the session is over.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sir,